Hey everyone, welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I know a bonus, got a twofer today. Wanted to do another quick little roundup today just because a lot of news has been popping up in the last few hours, even just about United, some transfer stuff. And then today I wanted to talk a little bit about Champions League hopes for United. I mean, hopes for United because there's some interesting things going on with that. So I wanted to make sure I at least drop by and left a short video today. I don't know how much time I'm going to have tomorrow morning. So I care about you guys. I care about giving you guys some updates and sharing my thoughts and hopefully hearing some of yours. So I wanted to stop back in. Got a little transfer news today regarding United's center back search, a little bit of season ticket issues, and then, as always, United are bigger than City, so we'll explore that a little bit as well. Before we start, please don't forget to hit the like button. I know you probably so thankful for a bonus video this afternoon. I think that your best way to show your appreciation for that is to hit that like button, right? You can trust me, I am a mental health professional, and I will tell you that that is correct. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you're new, and check us out on Twitter. Leave a comment too. I love to hear your thoughts on some of the stories, some of my opinions, get some feedback and hear yours as well. It's not just an echo chamber. It's not just me. I'd like to get you guys involved. So don't forget to leave a comment, but leave a like button as well. So let's dive in. So first things first, Italian outlet Gazzetta dello Sport, they've been prevalent in transfer rumors throughout the years. They're reporting that Juventus are interested in Mason Greenwood. And the outlet goes on to state that there's also a possibility of potentially a swap deal between United and Juventus involving Gleason Bremer and Mason Greenwood. Obviously, you remember we talked a little bit about Gleason Bremer in a previous video where we looked at United's center back targets, because center back is going to be a priority. If you haven't yet watched that video, please go back and watch it and hit the like button. That'd be great. So obviously, we talked a little bit about Bremer. We know a little bit about Bremer. 26 years old, I think 26, 27 now. Good, strong center back, Brazilian, physical presence, exactly the kind of presence that United need, exactly the kind of presence that I think would complement Lisandro Martinez very well, and leadership qualities. He also has a release clause of 60 million euros, I think, around there. So he's someone we've been linked with. Gazzetta dello Sport are saying the two clubs are looking for maybe exploring an option there. Swap deals obviously don't really occur that frequently, and I think it's unlikely Juventus would consider Greenwood's value to be close to that 60 million mark. I think too, if United think that Greenwood is worth more than that, it's probably cleaner just to pay the release clause if they want Bremer and then hold out for a higher fee for Greenwood. I don't know if I would think that Greenwood is worth more than that, but we'll see. He's had some ups and downs since going to Getafe on loan. I think the club are still preferring to sell him, so we'll see what happens. But what is being reported from Italy these days. In other transfer news, United Muppeteers are reporting that United are lining up a move for Leicester City's Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, potentially as a replacement for Christian Eriksen, who looks likely to leave. Eriksen has not been quite the same since his long-term injury. And I don't think that these days he can hang with the physicality. He's a bit of a liability for us when he plays in that deeper double pivot, especially when we're not on the ball. He's basically a red carpet for the opposition to bypass our midfield. And on the ball, when he's got time and space, he's great. But we just don't get that too often, very frequently, because teams do press us because we are vulnerable against the press. So I think that Eriksen looks likely to leave. He's been a fine servant. He was free, and he's scored some important goals for us and contributed. It's unfortunate that he picked up that injury, because I do think that kind of derailed him. But we have seen that, some players, when they hit a certain age, it's, things change. We saw it with Casemiro, I think, as well. So that is from United Muppeteers. Another Italian journalist, Rudy Galletti, is reporting that United are also looking to offload Brazilian winger Antony. So we remember that he was a priority signing for Ten Hag. He was signed for more than twice of what we were quoted months before we actually signed. Remember, we identified Antony in like June of United or Ten Hag's first summer here, United's recruitment and their owners kind of twiddled their thumbs and just went on vacation or whatever. And then we finally remembered, by August, yeah, Ten Hag wanted this winger. Ajax upped their asking price, and then we were forced to do that. So I don't blame Ten Hag for that. I don't blame Antony for that. It's nobody's fault other than our owners and our recruitment staff. In offloading Antony, Galletti is reporting that United are hoping to lighten their wage bill. So Antony is also currently on £200,000 a week, which is a massive jump from the $24,000 a week he was on while he was at Ajax. That in itself is just sackable practices. Just paying a player like that not only is forcing the club to have to pay more than double what his value was in poor transfer negotiations and poor recruitment, but also bringing in a player like that and basically paying him 10 times what he was on, jumping from the Eredivisie to the Premier League. Like, this is why we're in the financial situation we're in. It's not because Ten Hag spent this, not even because Ten Hag identifies players who may have been out for it. It's because we spend too much on players because we're not qualified in that department. Hopefully, to improve that. And we pay the players way too much. Antony should not be on anywhere near $200,000 a week. He should be on maybe half that at most. And then if he came in and did well in these first 2 years, then you could explore maybe bumping his pay a little bit, but definitely still not anywhere near 200,000. It's a little ridiculous. United former recruitment department has a lot to answer for in that regard. It's a big part of why we're in the financial situation we're in, like I said. Regarding another United rumored transfer target, João Neves, former United midfielder Nemanja Matic has voiced his opinion on João Neves' future amid those links to United. So speaking to O Jogo, I think is a Portuguese outlet, could be Spanish, don't quote me, Matic has pretty much vocalized and urged João Neves to stay at Benfica. He believes it would be the best thing for his development. To a degree, I do agree. There's less pressure there. It's a good league for young players, just like the Eredivisie is, or the Bundesliga. It's a good league for him, and he's doing really well. And I think he could. The problem is, it's like one of those things. Do you pull the trigger too soon on somebody, or do you wait and see how they do after another year and have to pay maybe twice as much? It's a conundrum to find yourself in. So, speaking to Ojogo, Matic said, quote, and I quote, "I think it's too early for him to take that step of leaving. If I were him, I would stay at Benfica for a few more years to play in the Champions League and to mature more. I'm sure his time will come, and therefore he doesn't need to rush." Very true. João is already at a big club at this point. I'm sure his future at Benfica will be very good. I think it's too early to leave, but of course, in the end, it's always his decision. Of course, it's the player's decision. We've seen sometimes people make the jump too quickly after a season. Memphis Depay, remember, I think it was a little too early to pull the trigger on Memphis. I think that it was almost a reverse for Memphis. Like, he should have gone to Lyon maybe after PSV, and then we should have got him from Lyon after another year or so. I also don't think it was the best manager for him. He came in under Louis van Gaal and then Mourinho. Those are very kind of very defensive-minded player. And Memphis is a player who needs a little bit more creative freedom. I think he would have thrived under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, personally. But that's just me. So we'll see what happens with João Neves. Obviously, we talked a little bit about him in a previous video. I do like him a lot. He's a good Frankie de Jong alternative. And that's not saying he's like you're settling. João Neves is definitely a top player, one of the best youngsters, teenagers playing right now. He reminds me a lot of Paul Scholes. He reminds me a lot of Frankie de Jong. He can contribute on and off the ball. He's good at picking up the ball off the defense or the keeper and bringing it forward and progressing it. He's one to look out for. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. I would love it if Ineos would bring him in as a statement signing. I think he and Xavi Meno would be great together. I do think they lack a little physicality, but if it's a matter of getting him versus missing out completely, that's the dilemma, right? So that's Matic on João Neves' future. Switching things up a little bit, we have a little bit of an update as the club continues its clashing with supporters groups. We've seen Must have some issues with United, and now the 1958, who have kind of had their own kind of clashing and butting of heads with the club over the years, they've kind of recently come out with a statement regarding season ticket situation. So there's a fan forum put on by the 1958 supporters group. It's planned this week regarding their outrage over this 17-19 rule that will reportedly come into effect next season, which affects season ticket holders. So the 17-19 rule basically states that Manchester United season ticket holders will lose their season ticket if they fail to attend a minimum of 17 home matches out of the available 19. So obviously United play at home half the season. This rule is saying you need to attend a minimum of 17 of those, which that's difficult to do. You want to have a season ticket, you want to have your guaranteed spot, you want to show your support for the club. And now the club is basically saying, well, you need to go to the minimum of 17 matches at home in order to keep your season ticket after you've already paid for it, basically. So the club has been accused by the 1958 and other supporters, season ticket holders, of culling season ticket holders so that they can sell the tickets for a higher price as part of the hospitality packages. So United obviously is the biggest club in the world, has big commercial appeal. There's a lot of people there. They can sell those tickets for much higher prices as a part of a package. A spokesman from the 1958 group was quoted a few months ago when this first kind of broke that we believe match-going supporters are being marginalized and ignored, and this needs to stop. Calling the 17 of 19 rule, he called it draconian and too strict, which I can totally see. It's hard a situation to be in myself because I would be a traveling supporter. Obviously, I'm not a local fan. I do travel to go see United, and I do, rely on being able to get tickets. I totally hear that. And so I'm not going to pretend like I have a dog in the fight in that regard. I can still have an opinion on what the club is doing, right? And maybe, I don't agree with it. But again, all I can do is vocalize that. So United, however, have pushed back against some of this and insist that the system is fair because fans have 3 options available to them before they can be marked as what they're calling absent. So they say you can sell the ticket back to the club, you can transfer it to a designated friend or family member under the forwarding membership rules, or you can donate the cost of the ticket to the Manchester United Foundation. So basically, United is implementing the rule, basically not giving anyone a choice in the matter and saying, well, if you don't like it, you can sell the ticket, you can give it to someone else, or you can donate the cost, basically. So it's hard. I can see where the supporters group is coming from. And like I said, they're planning a fans forum this week to kind of talk about it. And hopefully their opinions can be heard and considered under new ownership and see what goes on from there. United might have a bit of a recruitment shakeup. So there's going to be an interim head of recruitment. So following John Murtaugh's departure, right, United's head of player negotiations, Matt Hargreaves, will be taking over recruitment plans until Murtaugh's permanent replacement is appointed. We have a lot going on behind the scenes with Barada, Wilcox, Dan Ashworth. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of titles being thrown around. So it's going to be interesting to see what lands where and what the whole recruitment structure is going to look up at the end of this. So this is being reported by Samuel Lucker. So we've got an interim head of recruitment in charge. Hopefully we can figure this out before the end of the season. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, we figured out before the summer transfer window officially opens. But I'd like to have the people in structure now. Hopefully the people who are on gardening leave are already kind of doing what they need to do on their own. And then we can hit the ground running because it's going to be a big summer, especially for Ten Hag if he sticks around. If he doesn't stick around, it's going to be kind of a messy summer. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, especially then if you compound it with the delay in appointing Ashworth and Wilcox and Barada. I can see this kind of almost being a bit of a write-off summer window in that regard. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's just me being a little glass half empty kind of situation, but we will see what happens there. We do have an injury boost ahead of our FA Cup semi-final against Coventry this weekend. Harry Maguire does look ready to start in that match. He was carrying an injury against Bournemouth, and he did miss training today as a result of that. It's being reported, but it does look like he will be fit for Sunday. So that's good news. Maguire is not without his critics, and he's not without justified criticism. I think some of the criticism is a bit unfair. I don't know how you can criticize a player and expect a player to change the fact that he's like slow. He's not quick. We can't. that just is what it is. You don't have to be fast, but I think Maguire just doesn't suit this system, and that's all. When he came in, he was a force to be reckoned with. One of his first matches at United was a 4-0 win against Chelsea, and he was, I think, man of the match in that match. He's a good defender. He just doesn't suit Ten Hag's system. And so I think that Ten Hag trying to force the system onto Maguire is making him look worse than he actually is. So Ten Hag does have a responsibility there. I've said that many times. I think United View was talking about this in their full view kind of forum yesterday. I think Minna, big up Minna for echoing, things I've been saying as well. In her own, Ten Hag needs to change his system a little bit to suit the players that he has right now. It's not saying that he needs to change it moving forward altogether, but right now with injuries and with the limited quality in the players you have, we can't play that system, and he's just going to have to deal with it. He's at United, and yeah, we're a bigger club, but recruitment wise, we're not up for it, and he's going to have to understand that it might take some time because of just how inept we are when it comes to transfers. If he's not okay with that, if he wants the club to be better at that, if he's frustrated that the club isn't doing more, then that's a decision that he'll have to make. Is it worth his career to have to take several more years to do that? That's a Ten Hag issue to deal with. But in any case, Maguire does look like he'll be ready, and it's good. We will need him, and hopefully he and Kambwala can hold down the fort. I know Coventry are gonna bring it. They are really hoping to get to that final. I think that would be massive for them after missing out on promotion last season, especially. So we'll see. They're not going to go down without a fight, and we need to show up. And it's anyone's guess as to which United side will. Moving on, in a bit of potential manager and transfer news, the chief executive of Bologna, in Serie A, Claudio Fanucci, has spoken about the numerous rumors linking Bologna's players and their manager, Thiago Motta, to other clubs. So Fanucci has said, Thiago was working like he had a long-term contract with us. It's not a problem that he hasn't yet confirmed his journey with us for the coming years. What bothers me a little is the continuous rumors and the noise around our players. I am not okay with it. We are a strong club, one of the most solid in Serie A, and we don't want to change this group in the future. It's very annoying to see many of our players linked with other clubs. It's not a nice feeling. However, I am sure this has a limited effect on them as they are all focused on our target and happy to be at Bologna. Our club is solid financially thanks to our owner, and we have long-term plans for the club's growth, sporting results, and organization. We have a long-term vision and financial solidity to continue on this journey. So, could be a bit of a blow to anyone hoping maybe to land Thiago Motta or some of Bologna's players like Joshua Zirkzee. Sounds like, the executive is planning on everyone being there for the foreseeable future, and the owners are doing so as well, and they haven't heard from anyone otherwise, that they're planning on leaving. So we'll see how that goes. I know Motta's a popular option right now for kind of this new era of young managers, where guys like Ruben Amorim, Julian Nagelsmann, even like De Zerbi to some extent, and Thiago Motta kind of bringing some fresh ideas in. And, a lot of people, will criticize Motta's 2-7-2. I think that system will look great with our keeper situation. In the way Onana can be a sweeper keeper, I think it would suit us very well. But we'll see. For now, it doesn't look like, at least at the moment, that he's going anywhere. Some news regarding United's Champions League hopes. So this is one of the bigger things I wanted to touch upon today. So not that any of us are holding out too much hope for United to qualify for Champions League. Like I said, I think points-wise, it's just too big of an ask at this point to hope for Champions League. I think the best we can hope for is Europa League. I think realistically, it's probably going to be Conference League, but we'll see. So today's upcoming Champions League second legs could determine whether or not fifth place in the Premier League this season will be enough for Champions League football. So a lot of people, are keeping an eye on that. The reason that we're looking at fifth place is because of our coefficients. So this is down to the coefficients for the countries that are represented, obviously. So I don't want to talk down to you like you don't know. I'm sure by this point, a lot of you do know how this works. So right now, though, Italy have the top spot, followed by Germany and England. So if Bayern Munich do knock Arsenal out of Europe today, It hands that extra spot to the Bundesliga and takes it away from the Premier League potentially, right? And this is, again, because of their coefficients. So right now, Italy is number one. They have 129 points and an average of 18.4. Germany sit at number two. They've got 120 points, but their average is higher, even though England is in third spot and their points is 134. So it goes by the average. And so Germany's average is 17.214. England is 16.75. So England looks safe, at least for the third. But the problem is Dortmund's win yesterday helped them. And so if Bayern beat Arsenal again, that means that fifth place is out of grabs. I think it's out of grabs for United as it is, but there was always that little shred of hope. Maybe if Spurs continue to drop points and Villa could somehow have a massive collapse. There's an opportunity. There's a possibility. I doubt it, but in any case, it's a weird place to be in as a United fan, right? Wanting to, maybe on one hand, wanting Arsenal to win, but also not wanting Arsenal to have any sort of bragging rights or any sort of chance at a Champions League. Cognitive dissonance, right? This is why I don't do fantasy sports. I tried fantasy NFL football once, and the dissonance is too much for me. I can't have players on my fantasy team who are, playing for rival teams when I'm trying to watch my team play, wanting them to do well for my fantasy. I can't handle the dissonance. It's only so much my mind can handle when it comes to stuff like that. So you don't want Arsenal to do well, but you also want a shot at getting the Champions League. So it's difficult. It feels a little gross to want Arsenal to win. But then again, I think what it comes down to is how much confidence you have in Arsenal actually being capable of winning the whole Champions League, even if they do somehow manage to get past Bayern today. That's like hoping United to get into Champions League. How much hope would you put in us to actually get out of group stage next year based on what we've seen this season? There's a reason we didn't make it past the group stage this season. So Arsenal would have either City or Real Madrid if they manage to get by today. So depends on how much confidence you have against them and how much confidence you have against them versus Dortmund or PSG. Like I said this morning, I do think it's PSG's tournament this year. I think the way they played against Barcelona yesterday was something different, something new, something that was a little more physical, a little more pressing. And I think that if they can continue to play like that, I think they will have a good chance. They have the quality, they have the depth. I think that they've shown that they need to have a different string to their bow in terms of tactical strategies are concerned. It's oddly enough, the one team I wouldn't want them to play that way against would be City. I think you press high against City and you're going to get bypassed. I think with City, you do need to play it a little more on the counter. And again, PSG do have the players for that as well. And Mbappe and Barcola especially. So I think PSG have the tools. And I think it's just about getting the strategy right for as far as Luis Enrique is concerned. So we'll see. Everyone's going to be keeping an eye on Arsenal today and City versus Real Madrid. I will be with my buddy Justin. Shout out Justin. We'll be at Sean O'Callahan's in Plymouth watching that. And today I will be a Madrid fan because I just can't stand City. But he is a massive Real Madrid fan, Justin. So I'll be there supporting him as well. Speaking of Champions League, finally on a funnier note, Andy Mitten has reported today. He tweeted. That United's trophy room and museum. So if you ever go to Old Trafford and you do the tour, if you go upstairs to the Red Cafe, it's right by the trophy room. You get to walk through those little mini exhibition of all United's trophies that they've won throughout the years. It's actually really cool. But he reported, Andy Mitten, that the museum is filled with Real Madrid fans today who traveled for their second leg against in the Champions League against City. So you can't buy that kind of heritage. You can't cheat your way to that kind of status, and you just can't scam your way to that level of prestige in this sport. We will always be bigger than City. Doesn't matter what they think they win. Doesn't matter, how many records they think they've broken, how many Centurion seasons they have. They'll always have an asterisk, and we will always be bigger because that's just United. That's the way it is. Manchester will always be red, no matter what City fans try to tell you. And that is that. You want to go see City's museum? Well, you can't because they've only been around for basically 10 years. So not a disrespect to City fans, just the way it is. So ending on a lighter note, I thought that was a funny bit of information. That's just a bit of a bonus roundup today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. A lot of stuff seems to come out today. Seems like that Tuesday is kind of a big day for news and rumors. Obviously, as people are checking the news and stuff ahead of Champions League, I think that's an opportunity for a lot of people to share news and rumors. But wanted to make sure I dropped by and at least left you one in case I didn't get to do so tomorrow. Let me know in the comments what you think of some of these rumors, what you think about our interim situation, what do you think about our Champions League hopes. Let me know who you're rooting for today in Champions League. Maybe if you guys aren't United fans, if there's anybody out there rooting for Madrid, for City, for Arsenal, for Bayern, any Spurs fans watching Harry Kane still. Who do you think is going to win Champions League? Who do you think who's looking like other dark horses, underdogs? Do you think it's Cities again? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check us out on MUFC versus Everybody on Twitter. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.